Women know how to daydream, right? Remember being a little girl and thinking about what you want to do when you grow up, or thinking about your wedding or what your house would look like. We know how to daydream, but do we know how to be driven? And I don't mean like in an unhealthy way. I don't mean in a way that requires us to climb over others to get to what we want. Do we know how to really see the life that we want, not in an, oh, let me use my imagination and daydream kind of way, but let me be strategic and really plan a life that I know I'm going to love and know that other people are going to love being a part of. A life that is going to outlive me. And I remember one day, this is when I was still going through the bleeding issue, and I just sat there and I was like, what if I'm dying? And I just don't know, because no one's been able to diagnose what's wrong with me. What if something's really, really wrong? And one of these days I just don't wake up, or I get really sick and hospitalized or whatever. And I didn't stay there long, thankfully, in that mental space, in that spiritual space. I didn't stay there long. But it made me think about my children, and it made me think about the people around me and the impact that my life was going to have on them. And from that moment, I made a very conscious decision that I was going to use my life. I was going to use everything that I've learned to that point to become the best version of myself. And that I was not going to give up, and I was not going to stop until that was reflected around me. I have an affirmation, and I don't say it maybe as often as I should, but it says that this is what I say over myself, that I am a woman of influence. I illuminate and elevate every space I enter. I ignite the gifts within others by using the gifts that God has placed within me. And it's a reminder to myself that my life has purpose, my life has meaning, and that I am a teacher, I am an encourager, I am an illuminator. That's who I am. And being otherwise, or dumbing down, or shifting my focus from that, is me being less than who I am. And if nothing else, I want you to come away from this with a sense of knowing that you matter, and knowing that your life must outlive you. And your life is not just for you and for your enjoyment. I talk about the A-list assignment, and I talk about the things that you have to do for you, and those are absolutely essential. But there's a so that to this, and the so that is that other people need you, and other people need the best version of you. And there is a skill to creating the harmony between the woman you are now, the woman you are becoming, and the woman people around you need. And that takes navigating your visionary journey very intentionally. And you may not always get it right, but don't let that stop you from moving forward. Insight is one of the key elements of the vision sequence, and that's why I ask the questions that I ask. And it's so interesting because women who have sessions with me, I would hear them say stuff like, I feel like I've always known you, because I think what I know what I do is I provide a safe space for them to explore themselves. And I believe that that's what so many women are missing, because so many of us have sought external validation for so long that we don't know how to find our way back to ourselves, because we show up as we are expected to, which is not the same as showing up authentically. And it can take some unlearning and some relearning, and it's awkward sometimes, but that's okay. That's okay. When you've decided that you really want to live your best life, and you want to live your true life, and you want to discover not only yourself but your capabilities and the wonderful connections that come when you really start to get real about your dreams and your hopes and your vision. It is a beautiful thing, and life starts to unfold. But I'm going to be honest with you, life also starts to fall apart in some ways, because the things that you have built that were built on a foundation of other people's expectations or requirements, not even just expectations, but requirements. There are things that you had to do in a past season of life, and there are things that you thought you were expected to do in a past season of life, and you showed up that way, and you don't know what the authentic version of you looks like. You don't even know. And it's in questioning yourself, and it's in questioning your life, it's in questioning your journey, that you discover who she is. And I want to encourage you not to be afraid of that discovery. God was not ashamed or afraid or worried when he created you, and when he decided what he wanted you to do and who he wanted you to be. So you shouldn't be ashamed of unlearning some of the things that you've learned in the past, and renouncing some of what looked like truth to you, and embracing a new and very real truth about who you were created to be. It's okay. And you might be like me, in your 40s or 50s or even older, and you are going through a transition. You might be entering a new decade. I'll be entering a new decade soon, and I know that when the number goes up every year, but when the number goes up and there's a zero behind it, and it's a whole new era, it can be a scary place. You're like, oh my gosh, I'm turning 30, I'm turning 40, I'm turning 50, I'm turning 60, I'm turning 70. What does that mean? What does this mean for me in this new decade of my life, this new season of my life? And I want to encourage women to be excited about the journey, to be excited about where their lives are going and the possibilities that are available to them because of this new era, and not to be afraid to step into it, not to be afraid to explore it. I'm remembering in Numbers in the Bible where the Israelites, they actually get to the promised land. This is the land that God has promised to them. They're actually there. They see the fruit. It's gigantic and juicy. It's amazing. And they talk about the giants in the land, right? There are going to be giants. There are going to be new things that you have not yet done. There are going to be new experiences that you have not yet explored. But don't let that stop you, and don't let that scare you. You were built for this. You were made for this. But you just don't know how. And that's okay. There is guidance. There is help. But you have to be willing to make that step and own every step that you make. I don't know the address of this particular scripture, but I believe it's in Joshua, where God talks about every place that you plant your foot, every place that the sole of your foot treads on, it's going to be yours, right? I think it's Joshua or Deuteronomy. I will link it when I find it. But that's the attitude that we need to have. Even though this new season is new to me, it's not new to God. He's already gone before me. And if you never get a coach, if you never have a friend on your side who you feel like they can walk this journey with me, even though those are things that I encourage you to do because we need each other, know that you always have God, and know that the plan that He has for your life is not a plan that has elements that are going to take Him by surprise. He already knows everything that's going to happen. And He's already gone ahead of you to make the way. So when you are stepping into the new thing, He's already there. Right? So find peace in that and find comfort in that, knowing that you are not alone. You are not alone. And if you are navigating a new phase in your life, if you are a woman who is in transition and things are not making sense, and you really need help figuring out what this new vision is going to look like, what does it look like practically for me to walk into this new thing, this new season of my life? What does it look like for me practically? I am available for coaching from April to June. There's a 3-month journey that we can go on, and it really takes you through to becoming who you need to become so that you can sustain the vision. Because very often what happens is we start off with the best intentions. We start off with what we believe are good plans, but sometimes 2 weeks in or a month in, it just all falls apart. And we don't always have the support that we need because the people around us aren't looking for us to be the person who we're trying to become. The people around us are looking for us to be who we've always been, and it's difficult for them to make that transition. So getting help navigating that, and getting help figuring out where you need to be, not only be in terms of practically, what do I need to do on a day-to-day basis to sustain this vision, but mentally, spiritually, emotionally, where do I need to be? How can I coach myself through this, right? How can I step into this with more boldness and confidence and clarity. And it might be something that you've tried before and it didn't work out, but you want to try again. You want to try again, or you have tried again, and it's so challenging. And it's challenging because maybe you lack the strategy that you need. And that's one of the things that I believe surprises women when we talk, is that they already have the strategy, but they don't trust themselves enough to walk it out. And those are some of the things that I love working with women on, and seeing them discover that they already have the power within themselves that they need. They already have the faith within themselves that they need. They already have the clarity and the confidence, but it's clearing away all that clutter, clearing away all the preconceived notions and the limiting beliefs and the thoughts that just don't serve you, and other people's opinions, and really being able to walk confidently in your own vision. And I'm walking through this too as I'm approaching my 50s. There's a different version of me that I need to be. My children are getting older, and there's a different version of mothering that they need. My husband is in a different space in his life. There's a different wife that he needs me to be. But first, there's a different woman I need to be for me. And if I don't start with her, then I can't be what anybody else needs. Yeah? So that's just a little talk that I wanted to have with you this evening. And I hope this helps. Blessings on your journey. I'll talk to you soon.